I
Okay.
am Jeff Carter with Seattle City Club. Today, as part of the Civic Boot Camp on local government and politics, we'll be talking with John Rodriguez, co-chair of the Seattle's LGBTQ Commission. Welcome, John, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you for the invitation. My pleasure.
So just as a background, what does the LGBTQ Commission do and what is your role on it?
Yes. Well, the Seattle LGBTQ Commission, we represent, to make a basic, simple description, we represent and connect, build bridges with the greater Seattle area LGBTIQ plus Commission. We have to be very inclusive, and we are their voice on the council, the Seattle City Council, as well as we advise the mayor on different issues that affect our community and programs that, if not, should be considered to improve the quality of life, civil rights and programs in general, and for the well-being of our community.
And what inspired you to join the commission?
Yes, I'm from the Dominican Republic, so I'm Afro-Latino, and I've been an activist and advocate for human rights for the last 15 years, coming from the Caribbean, where there's still a lot of discrimination and stigma against our community. Like, just to say it, some of the English-speaking Caribbean islands they're still penalized or criminalized homosexuality, just to say it like that. Mm. And where I come from, it's not a crime, but we do have a lot of discrimination and hate crimes. So I moved to New York more than 13 years ago, and then my motivation was to empower myself so I could help my community back on the island and to be an advocate for human rights on not just my home island, but anywhere. And then I started my activism in New York, then moved to Kentucky. Even it's a little bit ironic, but yeah, I did some work there. And like I said, wherever my voice and work is needed, then as an activist, then that's where I go. And then I've been living in Seattle for 4 years. Even when Seattle is a very liberal and progressive city, there's still a lot of work to do. And I decided to apply and then join, and it was confirmed and voted in the commission. For me, this was something that I saw an opportunity to not just support the commission and do as what we are supposed to do, advise the city and represent our community, but also advocate. I believe in that, in advocating. And like I said, when I see that most of the youth, homeless youth out there, out of 12,000 homeless, most of them are youth, and a lot of them are LGBTQ. And then I see, well, there's a lot to do here, because they're young. The fact that they're youth, they're really at risk of suicide and the LGBTQ. So that's that's the main reason why or my motivation for me to join the commission.
What lessons have you drawn from your work in Kentucky and New York and even Dominican Republic? I saw that you created a It Gets Better project there. And what lessons have you gleaned from that you're applying here in Seattle on the commission?
I'm sorry, I think it was breaking up.
Yeah, I was saying, what lessons have you drawn from your experience in the Dominican Republic, in Kentucky, and New York that you're applying here in Seattle? Because Seattle is so, I assume, much different than the other places that you've been.
Yes, yes. My lessons learned and my background work is basically working and fighting religious stigma against the LGBTQ community. So that's something that I have been involved here in the United States in New York, and I did a little bit of work in Utah as well, in Kentucky, for Affirmation. This is an organization that was founded 40 years ago here in Utah, and working, helping and supporting former and less active LGBTQ members, and suicide prevention. Utah has one of the highest rates on suicide in the nation, especially youth, among the youth population. So for me, it's something that it's there. It's religious stigma, fundamentalism, and it's really harming a lot of LGBTIQ youth here in the United States. And we can see it even recently in the most recent years, that some of the LGBTIQ community rights are at stake and at risk because of the religious groups and how they want to use their religious freedom against other people's or other communities' rights.
So how have you on the commission been able to influence the mayor and the city in terms of LGBTQ plus rights?
Yes, I've been confirmed and in the commission for less than a year. So I'll be, I think next December will be my first year. And this is something that we, in a meeting with mayor, well, that was my first meeting actually. I've never had a chance to meet the mayor and her office for about a year. So I was very disappointed on that, because my first motivation to join is like, okay, I'll be fully engaged, meaningful engagement with the mayor's office, not just the mayor, but her office. So they have reached out to us recently. We used to work in a very informal way, not with the direct engagement. And for me, it was very disappointing. So the work that I've been doing with my fellow co-chairs and commissioners, we have been working, but on the side, let's say, with very little or direct support. Like whenever we needed something, yes, as a commission, but we have not been able to really engage in a meaningful way with the mayor's office.
Why is that? Do you know?
Yes, that's a good question. I kept asking, like, why? It's different than the work that I've done in New York and other places. There was more engagement, meaningful engagement with local officials and the government, local government officers. But then here, and personally, it's not. I don't believe that the mayor didn't want to engage, or other like city council, but I believe COVID-19 and the pandemic really affected it, because we've been struggling for about a year, and everything then that affected or impacted the mayor personally, and some other city officers or council members. But then for me, that's also not an excuse, because, we're here to serve. We are volunteers. We are really passionate. In my case, I'm very passionate when I take on a role. Like for me, this is something that I do that can save lives, and I take it very seriously. So, it's disappointing in a way. I'm not blaming the mayor, but then it's just bizarre why we haven't. And some of my fellow commissioners have shared that it's been like that also for a couple years or months, like not really meaningful engagement. We do have meetings with other commissions and chairs, but I hope, and like I said in my last meeting with my first and last meeting with the mayor, was that I hope that we continue an open conversation and meaningful engagement, because that could have solved problems that we have now. In that community, people in our community are really disappointed as well, and some are upset. So our work is and our mission is to build bridges and to help and to ensure that our community's well-being is maintained.
Mm-hmm. What are the main issues that you're addressing in the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, can you repeat the question again, please?
What are the main issues that you're addressing, on the commission regarding LGBTQ community?
Yeah, as a commission, we since I was confirmed and voted in, we have been working on basically on social justice and racial and social justice. That's really an issue, supporting the Black Lives Matter and those peaceful protesters, and most of them are LGBTQ or from our community, as you see, and they do have reasons to do this. This is something that is not new in America, and Seattle has been leading in having a voice to America to actually fight or deny or denounce what's been happening. So we've been addressing basically that social injustice. We can see that our QTPOC trans African American trans are being killed or victims of hate crimes everywhere. Here in Seattle, we have issues with discrimination, believe it or not, for some members of our community, and also justice. Their protests on police defunding and reform is something that we have been working on and getting a lot of feedback and letters from our communities, and also trying to build a better platform with other organizations, like networking and community outreach and engagement. So it's like the same issues that we have been that's been affecting us as a commission. The same has affected the community as a whole. Like the community doesn't feel represented. The community doesn't feel that there is a fair representation. And then this is something that we have been addressing and working on. Some of them could be frustrating, but we as a commission will always try to be democratic and positive on all of us as volunteers.
So what can government do to engage better with the LGBTQ plus community that it's not doing now?
Yeah, one of the great things that happened since I joined the LGBTQ Commission is that we have a state LGBTQ Commission. So that's something very positive, statewide. Now, citywide, we've had a commission, and I think we received a letter from community telling us about why they worked or helped so that the LGBTQ State Commission was a reality right now. So I believe that meaningful engagement is important, and government officials and local government, in our case, the city of Seattle, needs to, and I think they have been really improving lately. I see, like, for the last month, trying to reach out to us and trying to meet, and this is very positive. I think they should continue with having an open conversation with us, with the commission, and not just our commission, but other commissions in the city of Seattle, and have a meaningful engagement, not just because this is what we have to do or because of what's happened, but reach to us and then let's say this is what we can do to improve, or ask us what, like when you meet with someone that you have somehow need to improve communication or need to better relationship, then communication is the key. So if they have an open channel with us, then we can definitely do a better job.
So on the other side of it, so if someone's in the LGBTQ plus community and they want to advocate, how can they get involved? I mean, you're involved in the commission. What other ways, or what ways can people get involved to advocate for LGBTQ?
Yes, we do have a committees, and one of our committees is the community outreach, that we work with individuals and organizations that want to engage with us. So everyone is invited, everyone has a chance to even participate. Our meetings are open. They have a chance to, and in the beginning of each of our meetings monthly, they have a chance to say a public comment, to send us letters and add more to even when the public comment is brief, but they have a chance to interact and ask questions or communicate with us. So yes, we always have an open door for individuals and organizations to engage with the commission. And this is why I said that basically the work we've been doing is by being their voice and working with some of the organizations. We still have a lot of work with other organizations to do. As I think I am an Afro-Latino, and I represent, I walk within intersectionality. I'm Black, I'm Latino, and I'm an immigrant. So as the co-chair, and now I represent also a minority within the LGBTQ community that didn't have a voice either. Because you see, whatever's happened in the country with social injustice, social and racial injustice, it's also reflected in many other smaller communities, just like our community. Mm-hmm. You see, it's not the same, like not to have the white privilege being gay. It's not the same as an African American or Afro-Latino person being gay. It's never the same. There's no privilege at all.
So what would you say, like our final question for you, what would you say to someone in the LGBTQ plus community or otherwise, other marginalized communities, who feel maybe disillusioned, disenfranchised by the system, and what would you say to them to give them hope that change is possible?
Yes, that's a good question, and yes, thank you. I will encourage them to not to give up, not to, for everything has to be born within ourselves. Like the fight has to start right here. That spark that says, don't give up, and don't pay attention to bullies or anyone who says you can't do it. So anyone, no matter the color of the skin, no matter the economic status, no matter where you live, no matter what you've been through, no matter how you identify or your sexual orientation, you are worthy. You have a seat in our table, and we can still say that we are lucky to live in Seattle, that Seattle, besides any problems that may be affecting our country, Seattle, we are blessed to live in a city that is very LGBTQ friendly, that has protections, and that, yes, that has a seat there's a seat on the table for you. Just do whatever you want to do. If you feel that your passion is community work, if your passion is to help as an LGBTQ community, not just on a community involvement, but also politically. It's very important to think beyond that. So get prepared, educate yourself, get involved in politics, and let's do it. That's the only way that we'll be change makers.
Great. Well, thank you so much, John, for taking the time to speak to me today. I really appreciate it. I also have to thank Alaska Airlines, our Civic Bootcamp supporting partner, for helping us put these programs on. But thanks again. Have a great day. Take care. Stay safe. And thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation.